A family farm hopes new legislation will prevent heartache for others. A familiar face could return to a familiar place at the USDA. And the MSU Veterinary Diagnostics Laboratory gives us a peek inside. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
One Southeast Michigan family hopes to turn their heartbreak into healing. In November of 2019, Keith Eisenmann fell to his death on the Blissfield farm he worked at with his brother and wife.
Been farming together my whole life with him, and we each had our jobs. You know, he was more the mechanical, and I was more the accounting. But when it came to work, we kind of shared the workload. Just a great guy to work with, and we just never had an argument. It was great working with him. I miss him every day.
Following his death, Keith's late wife, Barb, and brother Zell were fined thousands of dollars by the Michigan Occupational Safety and Health Administration for not reporting his death, a workplace fatality, within 8 hours.
My brother, he manages a grain elevator, and he's dealt with them before. And he basically told us, yeah, you're going to be fined. But we had no idea the magnitude of it. Yeah, it was a punch in the gut, no doubt.
But House Bill 4031, introduced by Representative Bronna Kahle, seeks to lower those fines and increase the time in which family members have to report a fatality on a small family farm.
Imagine if your loved one, your husband, your son, your mother or daughter were to lose their life tragically, as unfortunately sometimes happens on our smaller family farms. And the last thing on your mind in such a moment is contacting MIOSHA, and to only have 8 hours to do so in the midst of that kind of trauma is heartbreaking, really. It's insensitive, and it is unfair, and it isn't applicable in these family farming operations.
She's been in touch since the outset. She heard about the family and their situation, and frankly, I think felt the same as a lot of us, that there was some insensitivity and sort of unrealistic expectations built into the MIOSHA statute. And so
the legislation also defines what constitutes a small family farm.
Pretty simple definition that we all can understand. A family farm means a farm in which the majority of the business is owned by the operator and his or her family members, or a farm that's organized as a sole proprietorship, partnership, or family corporation. And this next piece is the key, because I think of some of the much larger operations, like a large dairy operation that has a lot of employees to help run it. Family farm does not, and this is in the bill, does not include a farm that is organized as a non-family corporation or a farm with a hired manager that is not a family member of the operator.
The bill is awaiting a hearing in the House Agriculture Committee.
We educate people.
Up next, a familiar face could return to a familiar place at the USDA.
There's torque. Then there's 1,050 pound-feet of available best-in-class torque. There's towing. Then there's up to 37,000 pounds of available best-in-class towing. There's backing up a trailer. Then there's backing up with available class-exclusive Pro Trailer Backup Assist. In other words, there are trucks, and then there's the new Ford Super Duty, the most capable heavy-duty pickup truck ever built.
The U.S. Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry gave a unanimous thumbs up to the nomination of Tom Vilsack to lead the U.S. Department of Agriculture for a second time. Vilsack led the agency for all of President Obama's 8 years in office. Vilsack, testifying virtually, laid out what he called 4 why not moments for members of Congress.
I think we are at a why not moment with reference to the climate change. I think there's an opportunity for us to create new markets, incentives for soil health, for carbon sequestration, for methane capture and reuse, by building a rural economy based on biomanufacturing, protecting our forests, turning waste material into new chemicals and materials and fabrics and fibers, creating more jobs in rural America, creating greater farm income stability, and also reducing emissions. I think we've found local leaders, the private sector, the philanthropic sector, and hardworking and the dedicated team at USDA to make a brighter and better future possible in rural America for farmers, ranchers, producers, and those who live, work, and raise their families in rural communities.
U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow, who is the incoming chair of the committee, noted the last time she held the gavel, Vilsack was Ag Secretary.
And I'm so happy we're going to have a chance, if you're confirmed, to be able to work together again. When it comes to food and farm policy, we share many of the same values, from creating a stable, successful agricultural economy, to providing food for children and families in need, to making our small towns vibrant places to live, to addressing the climate crisis. Your deep knowledge of the department and understanding of agriculture and rural communities is needed now more than ever. I know that you will not only bring experience, but also new ideas and creative approaches to help us address the wide range of challenges facing our farm and food sector.
Vilsack's nomination is pending approval of the full U.S. Senate. Coming up, Dr. James Averill dishes on diagnostics at Michigan State University's Veterinary Diagnostic Lab.
Yep, we cover Michigan, from sandbars to sand dunes, cider mills to skiing hills, and farm towns to downtowns. We cover up north, and yep, we know exactly where that is. Yep, we cover Michigan because we're Michigan's insurance company.
We've spent a lot of time over the last year talking about challenges facing Michigan farmers. Today, we highlight a positive for Michigan agriculture. Farmers here have access to a world-renowned animal diagnostics lab, and it's right in our own backyard.
So here at Michigan State University Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory, we are a fully accredited, fully serviced laboratory treating and working in animal health for all creatures great and small, from our livestock industry to our poultry, equine, cats and dogs, to our zoo and wildlife animals. So we are a full service facility here, but we provide quite a diverse diagnostic testing, from the simple as a necropsy when we have an animal die to try to figure out why it died, to doing diagnostics in live animals, whether it's for bacteria, viruses, or toxicological agents that we might see, such as the PBB or lead and arsenic, as some other examples that we deal with and are able to diagnose today.
The MSU Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory isn't funded by the university, the state, or the federal government. Instead, it charges for its services and is kept running through the farmers and veterinarians here in Michigan and across the country and around the world that utilize its services.
Michigan State University Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory has some unique features to it that you do not see across the country. One of the things, when you think of a laboratory, you have people working at benches and they're culturing bacteria or isolating virus. And so that's what we would call a BL2 laboratory, or Biosafety Laboratory Level 2. But we also have Biosafety Level 3 laboratory space here, and that's what you see behind me today. And that's where we deal with our foreign animal diseases. We have a necropsy floor where the air out of there is a negative pressure. It's all filtered, and we can deal with very contagious diseases. And so that's one of the things that's very unique about our laboratory. But without a facility, we wouldn't be able to help the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development deal with bovine tuberculosis. The state would probably be in some jeopardy of its state status if it wasn't for this facility. Our response in dealing with chronic wasting disease in Michigan, both in our farm deer and in our wildlife deer also. So we play a big role in trying to manage and help ensure a safe and healthy animal population, both from a domestic and a wildlife standpoint.
You can learn more about the Vet Diagnostics Lab by visiting animalhealth.msu.edu or looking them up on Facebook or Twitter. For more news and videos, visit MichiganFarmNews.com or the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.